Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Kerfuffle showcase. I am delighted to have here Michael. Hello, Michael O'Brien from
Hi
Home
there.
of Mortgages. How are you today, Michael?
Very well, thank you. Very well. Feeling a bit overdressessed with you there, Simon, but
Well, us prop tech dudes get away
yeah.
with it. But, that's why we've been annoying estate agents for literally years now by looking like this. Do you want to just give us a bit of background, Michael? Just give us a bit of background about yourself, about Home of Mortgages. Obviously, the clue's in the name there, but give us a bit of background so we know a little bit more about the business.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. So we've been working with estate agents for quite a number of years now, over 10 years. I've been in estate agency financial services since 2003, working for independents and working for larger corporate groups. And so I think I've got a good understanding of how that works. I started an estate agency myself in the credit crunch in 2008. So we've seen the market adapt and evolve over time, and we've had to evolve our business over time. So in terms of financial services, working along with estate agents, I feel we understand the market. And what we're looking to do is to provide a mortgage advice service that we feel fits the marketplace right now.
And what do you feel isn't being serviced at the moment by by the current providers? What do you feel that why are you stepping up to the mark?
I wouldn't say so much that current providers aren't servicing. I just think that there's a lot of different models out there. Estate agents are adapting their models. There are independents, corporates. You've got people looking to go on their own, offering a self-employed service, bespoke servicing. So I think what we're trying to do is just lay our cards on the table and say, this is the sort of proposition that we offer, and there are estate agents out there that are looking for the proposition that we offer that fits nicely into their business. We offer a telephone-based mortgage advice service. We've got an online platform that enables negotiators to key their leads and online and track the performance of those. And we can integrate with client on the estate agents' websites and give them a sort of seamless proposition to sort of direct traffic to. So we've got a proposition for estate agents, and we understand sort of the market that we're in. So the right agents that we work best with, look for the proposition that we offer.
And obviously the title today is earning more money from every instruction there. Just give us an idea around those services that sort of reinforce that you provide.
Yeah, certainly. So historically, agents had mortgage advisors in branch. I used to have estate agent as mortgage advisors in sort of various different estate agency branches. Then a few years ago, it transpired that the good mortgage advisors, they didn't want to rely on the peaks and troughs of estate agents doing well or not so well. So we wanted to retain these really good mortgage advisors, and because they basically add value to the estate agent's proposition. So what we did is we created an online model that enabled all the brokers to be in head office, and that's now head office and at home, and a workspace that they work well in. And effectively give the estate agents a proposition online, so they key the leads online and the advisors service those leads. What was happening previously is that little bits of paper were being sent over to the mortgage broker, or a post-it note or an email was being sent out, and there wasn't any feedback, there wasn't any sort of communication in terms of what's happening with those leads. So we aim to address that by providing a transparent service. So you send a lead over, quite often that buyer doesn't end up purchasing with that estate agency. They may be purchasing elsewhere, and that's where they're getting extra cash, if you like, because effectively it's all transparent. They know that any leads being provided, if we do the business, it stays on the same record, and it's completely transparent. We're not rekeying it onto any other system. So that's one way. The way of the future, though, if you like, is that we believe that clients are a lot more sophisticated than they ever used to be. We've got a lot more access to information. or they're being fed a lot of information, but fundamentally they really do still need and want advice. If I walk along the floor here and listen to the brokers that the conversations that they're having, there's definitely a massive need for good quality advice, and that's not going to go away, and it's not going away anytime soon. We had a lot of talk about Robo Advice models. And I know there was a number of companies in the FCA sandbox talking about Robo Advice and the effect of and the change that this is going to have on the industry. But as I said, listening to the conversations day in, day out, clients don't even know what they earn. So if they don't know what they earn, how can they key that information into a system and expect a lender to make a decision? So, and there's sort of models where they've talked about using open banking to assess income, using direct feeds from HMRC to assess income, but it's all a long way off at the moment, because quite frankly, there's various different ways that you can assess a client's income. So we could use their accounts, we could use their tax calculations, we could use their contract. So you're not really going to get so Robo Advice. We see it as a long way off. So what we see as the way forward is provide using technology, without a doubt, using technology to enhance the client journey, to enhance the relationship, and to build on that. So we've got sort of tech in the back office that we use to enhance the client's journey, keep them informed, keep them up to date. But also we've soon to launch our new home toolkit, which estate agents can use on their website. And part of that toolkit is creating a booking tool, and enables clients to book the type of appointment that they want at a time that suits them. So some people just want a little mortgage chat. They want 15 minutes, just a quick chat, just to have get a good understanding of exactly, are they along the right lines? They may just have a specific question. You might want to ask something about the market, and in which case they can book that in. Vast majority of people, they want to run the numbers. They really want a very good understanding, want a good idea of, is this possible? Is what I'm looking to do possible? And,
but without getting lost in the jargon, I think is the key.
Without going through the full sort of, mortgage recommendation, life insurance quotes, and et cetera, and really sort of understand exactly, as you said, like without getting lost in the jargon, So what we're able to do is provide those numbers and calculate on a high level and run the numbers for them. That's without us sending off sort of, detailed information and paperwork. We're just running the numbers. We're working out, and that's more than running an online mortgage calculator and say, oh, that's what I'm going to be able to buy. That's an advised run the numbers. So that's looking at us understanding what the market's doing right now, what's possible, and obviously the market's changing constantly. So I think that's the future of the market, if you like, is that clients are looking to take control of those conversations themselves and identify how they want to be spoken to, when they want to be spoken to, and how they want to sort of communicate. So we're just looking to sort of adapt to what we're seeing as the demand, really. And I think from an estate agent's proposition, a value added to an estate agent is that they're able to offer that service to their clients. And we're providing the technology that enables them to do that.
So you're totally embracing technology. This isn't sort of any sort of, as you said, Robo Advice, which I've been noting down. I'm going to overuse that for the next couple of days without really understanding it. But when the time's right, you're only going to obviously introduce that when it's actually delivering demonstrable benefits there. And how important is that element that you understand estate agency and indeed estate agents well? What advantage does that give you?
Well, first of all, I'd just like to say that I don't think I'll ever be introducing Robo Advice. So I'll put my hat firmly on the fact that people need to talk through options. So, yeah, when I said I don't think I'll be introducing, I'm not going to be introducing Robo Advice, okay? And that's not because I don't see it as a detriment to our industry or looking at, the sort of traditional estate agents versus purple bricks type model. It's not a concern of that. It's just that genuinely, I wholeheartedly believe that the clients that we speak to on a daily basis, they need to have advice, and it's a very fine line. If you've got somebody, anybody involved in that conversation in terms of the mortgages, as soon as a question's asked, so banks used to do execution only, where they say we're not going to offer you any advice, but you need to choose one of these products. As soon as one question's asked, then there's a level of advice in that process. So just wanted to sort of clear that up in terms of Robo Advice. It's not something that we're going to be looking to adapt, and also the FCA, I think, have sort of fallen in line with that as well. The other part to your question was around understanding estate agents and looking at what that why that's a benefit to us. I think I've run my own estate agency. I understand all of the software that the agents are using. I understand processes. I understand the difficulties that estate agents are going to face. Young negotiators or new negotiators, training, development, interrupting the process. So there's a lot to it that how do we complement those estate agents? How do we interact with those estate agents and get them involved in understanding mortgages? And I've always been of the opinion that it's got to be a conversational-led approach to selling. So how do we providing enough information to the agents to really understand the market, understand what we're able to offer? And that's a really big point, because when we looked at our ideal market is working with estate agents, 1 to 3 branches, owner-led. They normally employ experienced negotiators, or had negotiators working with them for a long time, or senior negotiators working with them a long time. And it's just that they understand financial services to a certain level. And that's not belittling anybody's knowledge. It's that the mortgage market moves at a very fast pace, and understanding sort of where we are right now is a weekly change in the environment. So what we do is we provide that regular information and reporting on what's happening in the market, and we'll always provide a couple of sound bites, if you like, that they can use to start that mortgage conversation with their clients, with their vendors, with their landlords. We've had some fantastic deals just reporting back to these experienced negotiators and owners on what's possible and what's available in the market, i.e., from the commercial space, commercial lending, and just interacting with their experienced landlords and discussing the sort of development finance, bridging finance. There's a whole sort of raft of finance lending against multi-unit blocks, HMOs. Once they start a conversation, you just say, "Oh, I wasn't aware that you was able to advise in that sort of area." A lot of those the multi-unit freehold block type mortgages by HMOs have all moved over from the commercial space over to the mortgage arena. So limited company and corporations, obviously not as timely as it was a few years ago, where people were really sort of looking to explore that. But the mortgage market will continue to change. There'll always be something new. There'll always be something different to talk about. Right now, a real hot topic is really understanding furlough, understanding how clients are affected, understanding what's happening now in the mortgage market, understanding how, when business owners have taken bounce back loans and CBILS loans, and how that's affected their borrowing. So there's always this, and people need that information. So I think, just to wrap that question up, I think fundamentally what I've experienced is that by having the numbers, people are able to make decisions a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So what I always say is that until might have valued someone's property, you may have gone in and done the best valuation you've ever done, but ultimately what really gets people motivated, what really gets people figures, when they can see, yeah, this is possible because we've run the numbers. So I think what we try and do is encourage the valuers and negotiators to understand that process and just try and communicate that as much as possible and say, look, the mortgage market is changing. Why don't you just run the numbers and see what's possible? And you guys, they want it as well. You know, you don't want to be wasting your time with somebody who can't move, or who think they can move, or you know, or is on furlough and they're changing the furlough rules, you know, daily at the moment. So, you know, there's a lot to be said for just bolting on a good mortgage company, be it yourselves or any other company, be it bolting on a really good mortgage advice company to your business to help fast track decision making processes.
So just talk us through some of the ways, Michael, that, you know, agents can unlock that extra revenue using Home of Mortgages. Then, what are the different ways you can help them?
So first of all, we've got the cost of moving. As I just said there, vendors should be an easy target. I say target, should be an easy opportunity. In just purely that they've just signed a contract with you, they are looking to, they trust you. So ultimately, you want to add value to that proposition by referring them to a company that's going to give them some value, give them some more value than what you're going to offer yourself. So, you know, vendors are a very straightforward one. An untapped mine, if you like, is your landlord database. It really sort of depends on the level of communication an agent puts out there to their marketplace and how they're communicating with their marketplace. We can provide a lot of content to any agent looking to communicate, be it updates on what's happening in the landlord mortgage market, what's happening.
Which is always one of the biggest challenges, isn't it? To be fair, you know, you can end up with all of these different sort of electronic direct mail systems, but ultimately you're there thinking about, well, what's the interesting content that's going to help engage, keep them engaged.
Well, definitely, and I think it's just got to be current, hasn't it? I think that's the interesting. The interesting content is what's current and what your clients are thinking about. You know, so.
And relevancy, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So ultimately, we're getting a lot of information sent to us daily from a variety of different lenders and industry contacts. So, you know, we're dissecting this information, we're disseminating it through for our brokers, and ultimately it's our responsibility to keep communicating what's going on with the market to help people make decisions. And make the right decisions. And you know, there's a lot of a change in the market, lots of tax legislation change that I can see coming, or majority of people can see coming. Yeah. So how is that going to affect the level of borrowing that people can take? If they talked about raising capital gains tax to the actual rate of your income tax. So you know, is that going to see landlords start to sell now who are higher rate taxpayers or additional rate taxpayers to pay 28% rather than 40%? You know, so they're just, as I said, it's about communicating this information to at the right time to spark conversation, because ultimately what we're trying to do as business owners is to build long-term relationships. And a lot of this said the agents that we've worked really well with, these 1 to 3 branch agencies, have long-term relationships, and they have long-term relationships because they're a trusted advisor, and we sit alongside them. Yeah.
Is that your ideal demographic there? You've mentioned that a couple of times, that kind of 1 to 3 office agent is, you know, the problem with many businesses, many suppliers to the industry is they kind of, you know, they really try to pretend they do everything just as well as, you know, one office to a corporate there. Do you feel that you're more honest in those ones that you have the best success with?
Without a doubt, you know, and it's really difficult to actually pigeonhole yourself like that. You know, we can work with anyone, you know. Yeah. But what we found is when we took on agents that didn't fit that brief, what we were receiving is sort of a competition to see who could provide the most leads, and the leads coming in thick and fast, not knowing who we are, not knowing why they were speaking to us, and there was just a level of cold calling, if you like, to speak. So it wasn't right for us. It wasn't right for the customer. It didn't give the customer a good experience. It didn't give the agency a good reputation. So that's where our value proposition comes along. We see ourselves as a value proposition working with those type of agencies, because predominantly those sort of agencies have been around for a long time for a reason, or they're starting up on their own. And as most business startups, the value is at the core. We're different because we care. We're different because what we want to offer a different service to everybody else, or we want to offer a bespoke service, or we want people to like us, and we want people to like us because we do the right things. So those sort of agents that we tend to get referred from, we tend to do really good business with. We've got a lovely bunch of guys here, and the admin, we employ people to get mortgage happy. And ultimately the idea is that we try and portray that on and build long-term relationships with the clients and our introducers as well. We don't want to sort of work with somebody who's in it for a short term. So it is difficult to sort of I wouldn't say pigeonhole yourself, but just to identify the agents that you work well with, or a type of agent that you work well with, and it does limit you in a certain way, but ultimately I think it just it adds value in long term.
So you mentioned obviously it sounds a happy place when you're on board with you. What are the barriers to actually getting to that point, though? I guess is it all about compliance, or is the onboarding a relatively easy process?
Yeah, I think it's a regulated environment, and anybody that's moved from, I've taken through a few estate agents and trained them as mortgage brokers, and the change of coming from estate agency to financial services, the biggest thing that they've got to get their head around is the regulation, and the amount of things that you do need to do. But pleased to say for introducers joining us, there's a couple of forms that need to be completed, but ultimately it's just around getting FCA approval that you are able to refer to us. And the idea behind that is that you're also, what comes with that is that you're able to promote financial services yourself, and able to promote and host obviously our web tools on your site, etc. And it's all compliant. So there's very little barriers.
Great. And technologies you've mentioned a few times there. You do have, I think, is it the in-house system? Is it Revolution system?
Yeah, so we use our in-house system is called Revolution. The agents get access to that system as well, just to key leads online. All the information that we need would be a telephone number, email address. Most importantly, it's about understanding why the client is looking to be referred to us. So we've just valued this client's house in Ongar, looking to move to Ingatstone. So we're just understanding. So when the broker is looking to make that call, that they'll be able to sort of communicate them in the best possible way, and that's all we ask. And our guys are, we're understanding that the clients aren't necessarily. We're not looking for it to be fed on the plate. We're not looking to say, we only want leads that are going to sign up. What we're after doing is just engaging with somebody that is aware that we're going to be calling them, and what we're going to be able to offer. And that really was the premise behind the web tools. Really, is trying to hand back a bit of control to the applicant, and because if an applicant is asking for a call, then obviously they're going to be twice as engaged as just being told to expect a call. So part of the web tools that we're able to offer is that negotiators are able to text out a link, and clients are able to, applicants, vendors alike, are able to choose how they want to engage, whether they, as I said, quick mortgage chat, run the numbers, or ready to apply, so they can decide themselves what sort of service they're looking for.
But assuming that if they do all that as well, the commission is still due to them. It's not like they're losing control of that on that basis.
No, not at all. There'll be so the technology behind it. Effectively, there's a subdomain issued to every agent that signs up. That's hosted under an iframe on each individual estate agent's webpage. And we, from the public's point of view, they're landing on the estate agent's website, and the domain being sent, the link to domain that's being sent to any applicant is the estate agent's website. So they're driving the traffic to their own site, and behind that, that's right, there's a link that means that old commission, only leads that are being sent through, are automatically then fed directly into our Revolution system. And that, just to be clear on our Revolution system, when they clear lead online, they're effectively creating a record that we work on for the client's mortgage. And that's where the biggest difference in terms of the transparency comes from, because they're creating that record, any business that's being written, any mortgage, broker fee, life insurance, is effectively written on that case, and they'll get paid the commission for it. So no, we're not rekeying any leads being sent through onto any other system.
And look, traditionally humans were a bit rubbish, aren't we, in terms of we don't like change, or many of us don't like change anyway. What questions do you want get agents to ask themselves to see if they feel like they're getting the best package? You know, how do they know that they need you, Michael, at Home of Mortgages?
I think if we've ever been primed for change, it's now. We've been primed for change because over the last 6 months, we've been forced to change. And when I say forced to change, we was forced to change into lockdown, and we've been forced to change coming out of lockdown as well. And there's just been this continual change, and we're in this sort of state of flux at the moment where nobody really knows what's going on. Nobody knows what's going to happen next. So those that change will succeed, I believe. I think
I called it last year, Michael, or at least I'm pretending I did. I said, if I say that on enough videos, people will start believing it.
Okay. Did you go to China? Was you in China then, or?
No, don't start spreading that around. There's enough bad rumours about me anyway. I think you're right. I think it's really interesting. I mean, I think this just everything's so much up in the air at the moment, isn't it? And people are looking for a bit of normalcy, but actually, therein lies the opportunity there, because if you can develop those, those propositions for clients that were probably going to change anyway, you're going to be in a good place, aren't you, coming out of this, or at least better place than anyone else?
Yeah, definitely. I'd hasten to add that I think there's very few estate agents out there right now, good estate agents, that haven't re-looked. Well, first of all, they've all gone through their cash flow forecast. They've all looked about who they're using. They've all looked at Kerfuffle to identify who they need to be losing next. But those that haven't have definitely had really looked at the sort of service that they're going to be offering going forward. The type of partners that they want to partner with that are going to be able to deliver the service that they're looking at. So yeah, I mean, I just think that we're offering or developing our proposition in line with what the market is looking for, and in line with the change that is effectively happening in the marketplace right now. So yeah, I think that agents are primed for change, and they're ready to consider their options. And that's all we're saying, is that we are an option. There are some market-leading estate agency branches that will still benefit from having a mortgage advisor in branch. Okay, so I'm completely aware of that. That's part of the team. When I worked in estate agency financial services, there's this sort of perfect bubble where you've got a high-performing estate agency team, you've got a high-performing mortgage broker, and a really busy office. When those three things come together, you've got the perfect estate agency team, I believe. Are
you able to gauge what size of office that is, or is it not as simplistic as that?
size in terms of number of people?
Just in terms of number of people, yeah. Is there, is there a happy number that actually where it's worthwhile having the FA in there, and actually you can, on the whole, see that that's the numbers work to make it worthwhile investing in?
It's a pretty difficult question, and I'll tell you why. It's because, just finishing what I was saying there, which will answer your question, is that it's very unusual to get a really high-performing mortgage advisor and a high-performing mortgage team that gel, that all in one branch, and obviously be market. They tend to be market leading because they complement each other. What we tried to do here is, for those agents that either don't have the ability to have an advisor in branch, or looking for that ideal mortgage broker, that's the hole that we're filling. We're providing that experienced mortgage broker, one that can connect with their clients, one that can offer them the valuations back to the branches, that can update them with the latest mortgage news, talk to them, their clients about landlord changes, all of those things that a good mortgage broker does in the office. But we try to fill that hole and still offer that, albeit online, over the telephone and using technology.
It's still a human being at the end of the day, as you said there. It's just delivered just over the phone rather than face to face. Yeah,
and that's a key point, is that everyone knows footfall through estate agency offices have fallen. It's not, and the key is that it's communication, and how the reason why a good advisor works in a branch, that and I think the key there is that if you're in a high street office, so just more along lines of when you said about the size of the office, I suppose it does depend on where that office is. If it's in a major high street location, they've been there for a long time, and people will go in expecting that mortgage advice from that branch, then you're benefiting from that. But ultimately, a lot of the clients that we deal with, a lot of the clients that we get referred to are busy people. Everyone's got busy lives. What they want is they want to deal with somebody who knows what they're talking about, and that is the crux of it. Can you communicate what I need to know? Can you communicate? Can you articulate it in a way that I can understand? Can you provide me the numbers? Are you offering a whole service, which we do? And I'm happy with the service. We don't need to see ID. We can electronically verify people. There's no posting of passports, posting of documents. We've got a secure system to receive information, i.e. income documents, because that's income documents and bank statements. That's all we need. As if we electronically identify clients. So clients want to be dealt with in that sort of way. That's what we've found.
So you're whole of service, but whole of market as well, from what I understand. You have access to a huge amount of products, don't you, from looking at the bio on your site?
That's right, yeah, over 10,000 mortgage products, although lenders are withdrawing products daily at the moment, especially the 95% market is really suffering. And I think that the market will probably really kick on if lenders are able to come back to that space. We've got a whole list of clients looking to purchase with a 5% deposit who have now been able to, because of the stamp duty changes. So they haven't got to pay the stamp duty, so they've got their deposit saved, but haven't got access to those mortgage products. So, that's a market that's there waiting for lenders to come back. But yeah, we're whole of market. It's about offering solutions as well. So when a client doesn't have a deposit, what happens then? We look to explore their family. There's something called joint borrower sole proprietor, where we could add another member of the family or friend to a mortgage application to increase income. With other grandparents, equity release. There's a whole sort raft of options that we would go through to try and identify and try and solve the problems clients have.
So if it's out there, you can get it, basically, as long as it exists, really.
In short, Simon, yeah.
Good. And it sounds like, obviously, you're a really personable business. That comes across very clearly, I think. What help and support do you offer on an ongoing basis? Obviously, in terms of getting live, we spoke about there, but on an ongoing basis there, just talk us through how you can help them out.
Yeah, so we look to build long-term relationships. Just like we look to build long-term relationships with our clients, we look to do the same with our estate agency partners. Our partners range from estate agents, accountants, solicitors, wealth advisors. We've got a lot of people feeding into us and also asking for advice. But what we also do is leverage that advice. We ask questions back. You know, we're curious people, and there's a lot of changes in all of those markets. So, you know, what we look to do is share information that's happening in the conveyancing market, the wealth advising, the financial advice market, and share that with our industry partners. Okay. And a lot of our agency partners value that extra information. So I'm the main point of contact for introducers with Lindsay, who's our operations manager, and she manages the relationships with the estate agents. So anything you need in terms of up-to-date figures, reports, understanding where we are, looking for content, this all goes through Lindsay, filtered to me, and I sort of just disseminate information as and when needed. But it's a long-term relationship. So anything that you're looking to do, we can normally support you. We've done landlord forums with estate agents. We've partnered with a couple of accountants and done the same as well, especially when it was timely around the incorporation. So yeah, have
you changed those onto, you know, like sort of landlord events? Have you changed those onto a digital format as well, rather than being face to face?
We haven't yet, because I suppose we're just coming out of COVID. Those landlord events haven't been taking place. But it's something that we would definitely be looking to do. I think, I know that trying to arrange a landlord event on a Tuesday afternoon or evening when it's raining is not going to get the best response. But there's a lot of landlords that want the information. And I think given now the uptake of Zoom and webinars, you're probably going to have a much wider access to landlords who will be tuning in and getting that information. And not only tuning in, they can then send that out consistently to their database. So it's probably a much wiser use of time to run the events online.
Just feels like an actual evolution, doesn't it, really, of where these things need to go?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's the way it's happening.
And you talked about the COVID again, obviously there, and how it's affected the mortgage market. How do you see this going forwards? What effects do you think? I mean, it's all susceptible, obviously, to future lockdowns and things like that. But where do you see the state of the marketplace, the mortgage market, over the coming months?
So the biggest challenge that the lenders have had is the same challenges that a lot of businesses had. The immediate challenge was that they had to, the staff had to work from home. So that was the immediate challenge. So lenders withdrew mortgage products because of that. A lot of the high street lenders then had the issue with managing resources in terms of dealing with the CBILS loans, the bounce back loans. Yep. They were moving staff over to manage those. Normally when they would divert some of their resources over to places such as India, they were going through they were on full lockdown, so they were going through the same issues, so they didn't have those resources available. So the biggest and now we're sort of coming out of it. They're still managing to. They're still got a backlog of those loans. They've still got a backlog of mortgage applications. Come up lockdown, agents have just gone crazy in terms of numbers, and they're still managing that workflow, whilst also still looking at clients that have, staff that are shielding, staff that haven't returned to work, some staff are still on furlough for other reasons. So there's still a lot of change. So going forward, we hope that mortgage market comes back at 95%. We hope that the lenders get confident. I think the 90% will come back quicker than 95%. I'm concerned that 95% is going to be held off until there's more confidence in the employment market.
Yeah.
And I hope to be proven wrong, and I hope that the government will step in some form of help to buy scheme in the way that they did before, offering a mortgage guarantee for lenders to lend 95%. I think lenders are saying that wouldn't solve the problem right now, because ultimately it's about resources rather than wanting to do it. So I think once the resource issue has been resolved, we hope to see that level of borrowing back, and we hope to see that level of borrowing back well before the stamp duty ends, because there's a lot of people out there thinking, oh, it's great to save the stamp duty, but I still can't buy because there's no 95% mortgages. So there's got to be a resolution to it over the next couple of months. So I really do hope by October we'll start to see lenders coming back into that space properly. I mean, lenders are dipping their toes in, releasing products for 3 or 4 days, then withdrawing them because the funds have gone. So yeah, I hope to see more. And it needs all the lenders to come back, because as soon as one lender comes back on their own, they tend to get influx of application and need to pull that service. Otherwise, their own service levels suffer. So yes, it's an interesting time, and again, it just falls in line with the fact that that's why clients need advice, and they need to be recommended to a company that knows what they're talking about, be it us or any other good mortgage broker out there.
And it's really, really hard. You mentioned the employment one, which is the one we just don't know about, that furlough question, looking at different reports, depending on which side of the political spectrum you look at. People are estimating it's between 1 in 4 of those furloughed people, 1 in 10 of those furloughed people are ultimately going to be out of a job there. And that can obviously have a dramatic effect in terms of everything else. How are lenders treating that kind of furlough income at the moment? What's the metrics? What's the process that they're going through?
It's a really difficult time at the moment, because lenders are going through a transition in terms of supporting people on furloughed income, because they were just furloughed, effectively like being on maternity, coming back, and they'll be returning to work, to being a bit more cautious and saying, well, we're no longer going to be accepting furlough income. Because their view is that by now, if you're on furlough, seeing as the furlough scheme is going to end, that you should be being communicated as to what's going to be happening next. So the vast majority of lenders have recently changed their stance and are no longer accepting the furlough income as a valid source of salary. And you can understand why to a certain degree, but it does depend on the industry. But obviously, the industry where clients are still furloughed is probably more concerning to lenders, as to why they're still on furlough, and whether that industry is actually going to bounce back or not, or exist.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, obviously that 95% mortgage market and 95% mortgage is critical there. But can you see any major changes to lenders' views since that stamp duty threshold was announced?
I think it just goes back to what I was saying earlier in terms of the stamp duty change was announced. Clients had the ability to buy because their deposit saved or part deposit saved, but then the mortgage lenders withdrew the mortgage products because of resources. So I think there will be a change, and I think the change will be coming in sort of 2 or 3 months once resources are available again.
Okay, cool. And as a business, how have you, developed to kind of work with the new normal? Obviously, you're here on Zoom, kind of with me here, or Zoom style creatures. Will those changes ultimately end up benefiting your clients as well? I'm guessing they probably will, won't they?
Yeah, definitely. I was part of the reason that I moved all the brokers into head office, if you like, was to because I was a firm believer that brokers need to share information. We need to share the information that we're hearing, we're learning. I've interviewed a lot of brokers in the past, and some of the brokers I interviewed, their knowledge level was on the floor. And quite often it was that they were in a branch, they weren't really doing many applications, maybe 1 or 2 applications, 3 or 4 applications a month. And it just wasn't, they weren't doing or seeing enough situations or speaking to enough lenders to actually hold the information and deliver and give good advice. So the idea was that we'd be doing a high level of mortgage applications. Our advisors would be consistently trained, and we would be communicating any new information regularly. So that was the key thing. Going to lockdown and everybody working from home was a transition for me, as it was for a lot of other business owners. But we were due to launch Microsoft Teams, which we was going to do that anyway in March. So it was timely. But to be honest with you, it was easier to deliver that when everyone's working from home than say to people in the office, well, why don't you text that person over there on Teams? Yeah. So, so ultimately what it's done is it's given us a new communication tool, and that communication tool has been evolved over the last 4 or 5 months, and to effectively a way that we can see ourselves growing our business, adding advisors to our network, and using this as a tool. So yeah, we've embraced technology. It's worked really well. I've seen some good estate agents embrace it as well. Yeah. I'm just, I think it's not, I see tech as a really good thing to improve customer experience and increase communication. Yeah. But our industry is about speaking to people and building relationships, and we've got to use tech to enable us to do that, but not to replace that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more on that point. That's completely made up. And of course, looking at technology, look, you've only just gone live on the website, so we're looking forward to getting some reviews up for you on there as well. But you're very highly rated on FIFA. I think you got a 4.9 rating on there as well, haven't you? At the moment. Yeah. Which is fantastic to do it. And I believe you've got a great deal for our Kerfuffle members as well, haven't you? Some website tools you were talking about there. Did you just want to...
tools normally to get set up is £250, but for any Kerfuffle members, we are waiving that fee completely. So yeah, there's no fee for us to get set up, and we bear the cost of that.
Great. That's what the one's normally $250. You said normally £250.
£250. Yeah.
Excellent. That's really good. So anybody just want to do it, just please go to as usual, just go to the landing page on there. We'll be putting this recording on. We will obviously put any further panel show discussions and everything else there. But have a look at that deal in more detail there, and obviously just click inquire, or obviously reach out to Michael as well directly, and just mention obviously a Kerfuffle member. That'd be really, really good. Okay, well, Michael, I think that's really got a much better understanding of the business now in terms of what we're talking about there. Anything you feel that you feel that people should be coming to you to ask further information about, or is that really the first point of contact? Come and have a chat, talk to you about, learn a little bit more about the business.
I think we've covered quite a lot in terms of what we do as a business, and I think we've communicated, the people we work well with, and I suppose it's just about researching your options, isn't it? Understand a little bit more about what we offer. But everybody's researching their customer journey, and I think the customer journey has got to be at the heart of it, offering value to the clients. And I suppose just when evaluating your own mortgage proposition, it's got to be around that. Are your clients getting the best service? Are they getting the advice level that you would want yourself? Yeah. Are they being told all of the options? Are they missing out on mortgage products that they don't? Your current advisors don't have aren't available to? Are you getting all the leads? Are paid for all the inquiries that you're sending over? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just one other thing to add is that we also offer a full sales progression all the way through to completion. So, effectively for agents that busy agents that need that extra support. Obviously, we're progressing cases all the way through, so we've always got the updates, and they're logged onto our system, which clients can access. So
you've got that one-stop shop element of it there as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. Excellent, Michael. Okay, thank you. We got a last minute there. We got from Carly here. It's just saying, morning, lovely. I don't know whether that's for you or me, but we'll both take it. And thank you, Carly, for jumping in at the end. Michael, thanks very much for that. Really good to hear from you, and we'll catch up over the coming months and hear how you're getting on.
All right, lovely. All the best. Thanks very much. Yeah, take
Thanks,
care.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.